Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk about community. Now, we've touched on some community ideas in the past. We talked about maybe getting your local government a little more prepared, different ways you could do that. We also talked about, kind of getting involved, but I think I want to take it one step further. As preppers, I think it's a big thing for us to we end up getting focused on our stuff, and we want to keep our business private so everybody doesn't know, exactly what we're doing and what kind of supplies we might have. We kind of get that fear mentality of, if people know what you got, they're going to come take it from you. So by default, or, by the nature of the beast, maybe, I feel like we tend to become isolated or alone and try not to get too involved with things. And I think there's a lot to be said for strong relationships and building a community. And I'm not talking about like a prepper group and stuff like that. I think that's great and has its own place. But I'm talking about making a network and having a strong community of your neighbors and where you live, and just kind of getting to know each other. And I think there's a lot of importance to that. And there's a lot of groups that, end up being like racist or, crazy, but that we can kind of learn from. And I don't mean in the sick, twisted way, but in the, having some kind of unity and group community and looking out for each other that really builds on that. And, that's something to, build on. And I think it's something I want to take a deeper look at. Now, Kevin had mentioned he had actually posted something in the Facebook group. Did you post it, or did somebody?
Yeah, I posted
You posted it? All right. So Tell us what's going on.
Well, it was basically a dad was had his daughter blindfolded, assembling a firearm.
Okay.
And was running questions past her, about self-reliance, what kind of ammunition, she had in her hand and things like that.
Usually,
and it got me
usually
thinking about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when people do stuff like that, it's because it's not that you're necessarily memorizing things, although he clearly has her memorizing things and thinking about stuff. But a lot of that, I think, is you want to kind of have their mind somewhere else so they can put together the gun without having to focus on it. It's kind of the distraction, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's where he was going. But go on. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this really goes back to, you hear a lot of talk about sheepdog, wolf and sheep and being the community steward, that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. A couple weeks ago, Kasim Morris in Long Island, was a 16-year-old kid. He got stabbed to death.
Okay.
On Long Island. Bunch of people videotaped it. Watched this kid getting stabbed until he was dead. Nobody did anything about it.
Sounds right.
And then also last week, a man in New York City jumped in front of the subway with his 5-year-old daughter in his arms. And a bunch of people videotaped that. Luckily, 2 people actually jumped in there and were able to pull the girl out before the train came. Dad got killed. The daughter only got a broken arm. But I mean, that's, you know, when you see things like that, a lot of people panic. A lot of people, obviously, they pulled their phones out. I mean, they weren't panicking. They did something. They just didn't do anything to help.
Right. They weren't frozen in fear.
Right. But they didn't jump in there to save anybody. And luckily, those 2 guys were there and did something about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of us, you know, we get that mentality that we don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
But guess what? If it's your community, you're involved, no matter how it works. And you have to kind of have that mindset of what are you going to do when those sorts of situations come up? It's your responsibility. If you're listening to this podcast, it's your responsibility to stop or those situations or intervene in some way.
Yeah, I hate to say it. If you're listening to this podcast and it's not what we teach you, you know, by the things that we talk about, it's that where your mind is with you looking for information and playing out scenarios and thinking about different things, odds are if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably the most prepared person there. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, and I know some of you cop guys, you might actually even agree with me that you're probably more prepared than the cop guy. Now, if you're the cop guy and you're listening to this, then you're probably more prepared than the other guys. But you know what I'm saying is not everybody has their head in the game. And I've met lots of people who are supposed to be, you know, the guy. And I'm not knocking cops. There are a lot. Usually if cops don't want to get shot in the city, they have their head in the game. Right. I guess that kind of came out a little funny, but you know what I mean? It's, you know, there are cops, a lot of my cop friends who are not thinking survival and thinking alertness and preparedness all the time. And, you know, maybe I just hang out with some weird friends. Maybe I need to just choose better friends. That could be.
That's generally the problem. Yeah, no, I think that, I think that it's, you know, I saw another Facebook post on our page, and somebody was talking about basically if somebody broke in to his house, his first reaction would not be to shoot him. You know, he keeps a handgun with him, and you know, loaded, ready to go. But he's saying that he would try and de-escalate the situation if he was able to. And you know, I'm not somebody. I hope that I never have to shoot somebody or kill somebody. You know.
Well, that was my mindset when I lived in New York, too. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm a Southerner, I'm just kind of like, yeah, they're on my property. You know, I think he stepped on my sidewalk.
I'll shoot that
guy. You know, whatever. No, exactly. Nobody should be looking for a fight. There's a difference between being prepared for a fight and looking for a fight. And really the best move is to avoid it. And honestly, you know, especially when people are like, oh, well, when there's no laws and the police aren't doing anything, then I'm going to whatever. That's actually, I think, when you want to show more restraint.
Right.
Now, I mean, you could get into the weeds on, oh, is this guy going to go back and report to other people what you have? And maybe you would have been better off if you just shot him when you saw he was shifty right out of the gate. Yeah, there's probably some truth to that because you always say that when you listen to the prepper books or whatever.
Right.
You're like, dude, just kill that guy right now because you know he's going to be, you know, problem. But
you know, this kind of sounds stupid, but you know, I when I go to bed, I lock all my doors, right?
Stupid.
But not only do I lock my doors, but I put that little latch on the screen door. Yeah. You know, that latch. That's not going to stop anybody.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
You just open that door and pop that latch right off. Not a big deal. But I have that latch because I know that if somebody opens that door with the latch shut,
you're going to hear it.
There's shit going on. Shit's going down. He's trying, you know.
Yeah.
This isn't somebody knocking on the door.
Yeah.
This is some asshole. And, you know, they say there's a thin line between hippie and survivalist. Which one are you? You know, but good news, guys. If you want to know which one I am, I did that 23andMe shit.
Yeah, what did it say?
Got the paperwork in. It said 100% asshole.
Ah, dude,
I don't know what that
didn't even
means.
know that was a category. They probably made it up when they found yours. Or did it say, you come from a long line of assholes?
Right, it's hereditary.
That sounds accurate.
Uh-huh. Now, I got a quote here. This is Thomas Jefferson. It says, any armed people are slaves, or are subject to slavery at any given moment. Well, wait a minute. That wasn't Thomas Jefferson. That was Huey Newton.
Oh,
that's the founder of the Black Panther Party.
All right.
Now, originally the Black Panther Party was called the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense.
Mm.
And I think everybody's heard of the Black Panther Party. If you haven't, look it up. It's definitely interesting history. Yeah. One of the things they did, though, was a free breakfast for school children program. And at one point, they were given free breakfast to 10,000 kids in their community. And the police department were raiding these free breakfast programs.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you know what? I bet you there were black people there.
There were black people there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys. The 70s and 80s were a weird time. We all know that.
It's fucked up.
There's weird shit going on. But, I think a lot of aggressive people overlook their obligations to the kids in their community, the kids around them.
Yeah.
Even just paying the kid up the street $10 to help you rake up some leaves. You kind of make a connection with the kids in your neighborhood. And I think that's really important. There's a lot of kids, I live in a rural area, and there's a lot of kids right around here that they're not getting enough to eat every day.
It's amazing. And you don't think it. Like, I know there's all these commercials and you see all the billboards and, 1 in 5 kids or whatever is hungry. And, or I know I always hear on the radio, I'm your neighbor. I work with you and I don't have enough to eat. My kids go hungry, or your kid goes to school with my kid and we wave or whatever, but you don't know I'm hungry. I think there's more of that. And there is so much abundance in America. It's hard for a lot of people to see it right. As a possibility, because it's never been in maybe your world.
Right.
But there is a lot of people out there in need, and little things could go a long way in changing somebody's situation. I think that's why people like these heartfelt TV shows. You see, I don't know, there's a million of them, where either they'll remake a house for somebody, or even there's my kid was watching one the other day about parolees and dogs or something. Have you seen this? I don't know. But I mean, just making the connection with people. They were basically taking rescue dogs and hooking them up with people on parole as, but that, I hate to say it, sense of community. One, somebody getting involved in their life and caring about them. Like, hey, I think you have value and you could bring value to this dog right there. That little acknowledgement of, hey, you're worth something. And then, they talk about also people having something to do and, building a connection and a relationship, putting the humanity in somebody's life. And like I said, it's not that you're getting humanity because you have a dog and now you have a friend or whatever, but also the humanity of, hey, you know what? I see you guys are having a tough time. How great would it be if I sent over a Thanksgiving dinner over to your house that I ordered from the restaurant or whatever? Just something, or drop a bag of groceries on the door. Hey, you know what? Somebody cares about me. There's good in the world. It changes the way people, look at things. I think there was some kind of Adam Sandler movie with Steve Buscemi or whatever, and he's wearing the lipstick.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And he's got the kill list or whatever. And he's going after everybody. And then Billy Madison, Adam Sandler goes and says something nice to him or whatever. And he's like, all right. And you just see him have that kind of turn of, hey, there is good people. And, the world isn't complete shit.
Right. And as people that consider themselves sheepdogs, you really kind of have to check in with people, You love your kids. I love my kids. Everybody loves their kids. But, some kids out there in your neighborhood or the next neighborhood over, they got shitty parents.
Yeah, but some kids really don't deserve to be loved.
Some kids, like gingers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Seth Spin, I know
where I was going with that. I mean, man.
They don't have souls.
Like maybe your neighbor's like Eric Cartman.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Fuck that kid.
Yep. No, I know that kid. I got a kid in my neighborhood that everybody calls the Ginger Ninja.
Hopefully he's not listening to this.
Hopefully not.
But his mom's going to be like, that fucking Kevin. Talk about my kid.
I don't support that. Listen, I'm not encouraging the children to say that. I just overhear it.
It was just a joke. It was just funny at the time. So I think like the big thing that we're going on, and when I touched on, Kevin wanted to talk about the Panthers and different things, is they actually look out for their community, and that's why people are attracted to them. Mm-hmm. And people understand because they're like, hey, these guys are actually out there standing on the corner, and I think you had mentioned, they're helping people across the street, and they're doing the school lunches, and they're looking out for who needs stuff in their community. I mean, to an extent, that's even how the mafia was accepted in communities. No, the small business owners getting shakedowns weren't exactly down for it.
Mm-hmm.
But they also got some of that respect because it's like, hey, I'm still not going to let you treat the old guy walking across the street with his groceries like crap,
Mm-hmm. Right. And, a lot of people don't realize, especially Californians, the reason that gun laws are so strict in California is because of the Black Panthers. They were openly carrying shotguns around their community in case shit went down. And maybe you think that's okay. Maybe you don't. They were doing it legally. But California didn't think it was okay. They passed the Mulford Act, which basically took the ability to own firearms from Black Panther members and prevented any California citizen from carrying any firearm in the open in California. So, maybe the government's kind of shitty sometimes, and you kind of have to stick up for yourself. I think Thomas Jefferson would agree with that wholeheartedly.
That only sounds right. Well, that's, another thing. When you're talking about it like that, one of the laws here, I was like, well, I don't understand how in the state that I'm in, we have such loose gun laws and, all these different things. They have open carry and things like that. But to buy a gun, you had to go get a handgun. You had to go get a permit card to get it. And I was like, that doesn't fit with the loose laws and the whatever. Else. Like you can go to another state, buy a gun and have it and it's legal and whatever. And I was like, I don't understand, why do you have this rule? And they were like, oh, because that's one of those grandfathered in laws that just nobody's ever changed. But the reason it's there is so Black people don't get guns. Because if they went in and they'd be like, oh, you're Black. See, I can tell. And then, and it's really about controlling things. But when people see that you care about them and you start establishing a relationship, and again, you see these jackasses who want to walk around Texas with their AR-15 on their back because it's legal or whatever, and they're doing, 2A checks or whatever.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not like, hey, go stand out and be the guy with the gun and then your community will respect you. No, they're probably going to think you're a nut job.
Right.
And that's not going to work in today's world. Doesn't mean you don't have your concealed carry with you when you're out and about.
Right. It doesn't mean that if you see that kid getting stabbed to death, you can stop it. Obviously, there's a time and a place when, things go sideways and it happens real quick and you have to be ready for it. How are you going to react? You're in a gas station. Some guy comes running in after he's been stabbed and somebody comes running in after him to finish the job. Are you just going to hide behind the desk with the girl working at the counter?
Is she cute?
Well, there's a lot of factors in here that we have to account for.
We're going with the broad strokes. Right. So, but the thing is, it's not the the out show of force, that was maybe not the better way to go.
Right.
Although it tied them together and made the people feel strong. And I understand where a lot of that civil rights stuff kind of came from is, people tried to make them feel weak and defenseless. And, that whole boy kind of thing, cop call you boy and stuff like that. It's a matter of, I remember as a kid, as a teenager, we got pulled over by the cops one time because the taillight was out or something stupid. My friend was driving. Guy comes up, the cop, he grabs everybody's driver's license in the car, goes and checks them all, whatever, and then takes them and throws them on the floor of the car. Here's your fucking shit.
Right.
Whatever. Because it's all about, hey, I'm in charge.
Yeah,
look at me, I'm the big man. And so I understand, and again, that's me, dumb white kid having perspective. I understand where somebody like the Black Panthers is like, hey, I need to go out and show I'm a man. And kind of,
so I don't get treated like shit all the time.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this about Chuck, but he was a juvenile delinquent. He was a headbanger with long hair, and
Oh, why is it got to be like that?
Check him too,
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's the idea. Is so I understand how that comes into play, but I think what we're talking about is that idea of community and going out and getting involved. And, people talk so much, I guess, like, I think I heard it from like Glenn Beck or something a while back was, people are so worried about the right president and the right thing. And if I get elected, I can do this and I'm going to do this for my community. Well, guess what? You can do for your community without getting elected.
You don't have to be the president.
Ever have to be the president. You can go out.
Have to be the mayor.
Right. You can go out and raise money to build a park or to, help out the community or to build a youth center or to whatever. You can do those things without the government. And when you start getting involved and you take ownership of your community and where you are and the people around you, and, you're going to earn the respect by doing the little things that you can do, that it'll build into bigger things. People, you can't go up and say, well, if you guys all gave me 50 grand, we could build this park here for whatever. Well, why should you be trusted with 50 grand and anybody, want to give you a dime to raise for anything when you're not doing? But if you did the things right now that you can do that are in your world and your level, you just help out and be the decent guy and go to the, town meetings or go to the things and get involved, but start organizing things that are helpful to your community. Maybe you work at the gun range and you're like, hey, how cool would it be if we had a Saturday where we did a free gun safety class for community kids or, things that'll empower them. Maybe you meet at the public park and you teach the kids soccer and you set up some kind of, soccer training or whatever, somebody's got a field in archery and you go to the church and invite the youth group kids to come learn how to shoot bows on your property, different things like that. When you take the small steps, you build relationships with your community and really taking care of each other and helping each other out. One, it's going to make the world a better place, but two, these relationships that you build are going to keep your community from turning to shit when things get bad and ugly in the world. They're going to say, hey, when we work together and we have the stronghold instead of, hey, I can go take that guy's crap. Now, that doesn't mean you need to show everybody your 2-year supply of food stores. That's not relevant to anything,
Right.
We're just saying,
There's a lot of talk about, being a man, But obviously, when I was a kid, it meant that you weren't a virgin anymore. Now
and you had a beard.
Yep. Now I'm a grown up. I'm a grown ass man now.
And you've had sex?
I once or twice I have.
All right.
But it's being a man is a lot more than having kids, a lot more than, doing that. Really being a man is taking care of your family, taking care of your wife, taking care of your kids, taking care of your community, taking care of everything. Men take care of shit.
That's right.
And a lot of people think about, really, I don't know, man. I don't know, really, being a man really involves handling your community, taking care of everybody around you, and making sure everybody's safe. We
Right.
talk about sheepdogs and sheep. Some people can't defend themselves.
Right.
And
And
that's
actually stepping in,
I'm-
like you touched on with the subway and the stuff like that, stepping in and being that guy, maybe that's enough. Maybe you don't have enough time and whatever, and you're struggling to pay your bills and whatever, and you're working all the time and you can't be organized and stuff. Well, you know what? Be ready and be the man when it's time. Be the nice guy at work. Say kind things to people. Don't be an asshole or defend the guy who's getting screwed. These are the kind of things. I'm not saying you have to put your job at risk or do whatever to step in, but you need to, be a man. Now, one of the traps that a lot of people fall into, and I just have met people in my life where they want to be the big community man and take care of things, but they neglect their own family at home.
Right.
And that's something, you kind of touched on there a tiny bit there. And that's something that shouldn't be overlooked. When you're a man, you take care of your own business first.
Mm-hmm.
You take care of your debts and your responsibilities. You take care of your family, your wife and your kids. They come first. And then when you have that shit squared away, you do the other.
Right.
But you
Clean
can
your
start
own
being
house first.
kind and the nice things, the baby steps right away.
That doesn't cost anything.
And, and it doesn't even cost your time to just be patient and nice as you go about things and do it, in your daily life. So that's something, to really think about. But getting involved and getting outside your house and getting into things, and even if it's stuff you love, like you're like, oh, well, I love to be hunting and fishing every week, whatever. Well, maybe there's somebody from, your church or your gun club or whatever, who you can say, hey, your kid, whatever, let me take them out with me and whatever, somebody you feel isn't getting opportunities, whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then maybe, hey, come fish on my pond this weekend or,
Right.
whatever, or come over and shoot the bow, whatever, whatever the fun thing is that you can offer, or maybe even just some cool skills, but where you're still doing things that help you relax and have a good time.
Right. No, I think I've taught every kid in my neighborhood gun safety just using BB guns in the backyard.
And because you're shooting at them and they have to learn, you
Right.
stay away from that end of the gun.
Yeah, don't stand in front of it. It doesn't feel good.
That's a lesson learned.
Oh man, I remember. I don't think only one of my brothers actually shot me with a BB gun. I don't think it was mostly my friends that did it.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, hey, that's how it goes. All right. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think that's the neighborhood. But I mean, just, get involved in your community. Start to think outside yourself a little bit. I mean, I think as I get older, I start to think more. You also have more time, when you're younger, you're just like struggling to get ahead. And I got to get my house. I got to get my car. I got to get, the job or start to save money or whatever. We feel we're pulled in a million directions. And then as things start to slow down and whatever, you can get more involved. But getting involved while you're young is even better, when you have the energy and the stuff to do it. So just start to think outside yourself. Think about building the community and building it up. Because I think the more relationships and, you don't need to be a militant force.
Right.
But people knowing who you are is not a bad thing either.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, hey, the guys from the gun club come and do whatever. Or you see the biker gangs always try and put on a happy face by caring about like abused animals or abused kids or whatever. I've seen some of the a local biker gang in New York that would help out women who were being abused or needed to get away from things. They'd go step in and happy to.
They're not biker gangs. They're motorcycle clubs.
Motorcycle clubs. Oh, they're not gangs. All right.
Right.
Do they switch blades in their boots?
Yes, those. Yeah,
they still do that.
That's motorcycle clubs. Yeah, no, there's one local one that's bikers against child abuse.
Right.
You know, those types of groups, you know, and whatever. Maybe they're putting, you know, just doing something so that, you know, they have a good, you know, good face
in public,
things.
right?
But, you know,
but that's really, what we're talking about too, in a way,
exactly
you know,
what we're talking about, right? So, I mean, I think a lot of those groups, man, they really do a lot. You know, there's a lot of talk about toxic masculinity now.
Yeah.
You know, there is such a thing as toxic masculinity. I'm not even saying that doesn't exist. But what I am saying is masculinity is also a very positive thing. And it's needed every day in a million different places, you know? So, I mean, just think about that when you step outside of your front door.
Sounds right. So
now, if you want to get a hold of us and send us some hate mail over this,
how would we do that?
preppingbadass@gmail.com.
Yeah. Now, one of you, I just got an email. It was a couple days ago, but it was weird because I didn't get right back to it because the guy recommended some links on solar and setting it up. And it was, let me find it. Hang on. I know I'm not as organized as I should be. Turns out when I've been deleting emails, they go into the important folder.
Okay.
I thought it was trash, but it was the important. Here it is. So it was Andrew sent me a link to Laser Saber, and they have a lot of, you know, different solar stuff. And I was going through it, and the guy's got a lot of cool ways to build solar panels, like for an off-grid situation, but where you'll have usable power right away. The idea is you charge up batteries and you have the battery bank, but sometimes it'll have like the slow and steady, but like this had like superconductors and things like that would, or supercapacitors that would charge up and, you know, be able to give you that instant jolt so you could run like a skill saw off your solar setup and things like that. Anyway, a lot of neat ideas. And when you guys have good ideas like that, definitely share them. I'll try and share videos, you know, in the group when you do. And, you know, it's just stuff it took time for me to get to review. You know, things have been a little haywire with the move. I'm still trying to work out a new location and whatever. So a lot of chaos going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had a couple of episodes there where we had some issues with the sound quality. I think we're starting to
get that worked out. Yeah, until I move to a new location and find out there's no internet, and we may have to do the podcast through carrier pigeon. I don't know. I'll be like, and so Kevin, what do you think about that? I'll send the bird out when it comes
a week
back.
later.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's great. So I don't know. Also, if you're enjoying it, you can leave reviews over on iTunes.
Yeah, we haven't had any new reviews lately, have we?
I don't know. I haven't looked. Is the problem.
All right.
Maybe we haven't, though. Who knows? Also, if you really love the show, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/preppingbadass. And also, you guys know about TacPack. TacPack has been a great sponsor of ours for a long time, where every month they hook us up with cool new gear, and you could get this cool new gear delivered to your house. And it's about $50 a month, but they send you about $100 worth of cool shit. So it's kind of a neat idea. Anyway, it's worth checking out. It's fun to get cool surprise gear all the time. Go on their website. You'll see pictures of previous packs they've sent out, and you kind of see if it's something for you. It's definitely meant for somebody who is into the AR-15 platform. It's not just prepping gear. If you want that, there's some other things out there. But if you're an AR-15 guy, they have a lot of cool shit that might, you know, catch your eye. So with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today. Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.